What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm Noah Schreckbein, joined always by my main man, Jacob Punturi. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talkers. Subscribe anywhere you get your podcast. The Pittsburgh Steelers travel to Cincinnati, take on the Bengals tomorrow. Big game, trap game. We'll dive into it. Meanwhile, there are two things to talk about. One of them, injury, quote unquote, wise, at least injury report wise. And the other one is a hypothetical trade that has been floated around that has caught the eyes of many, caught the eyes of us. And it is wild. The Pittsburgh Steelers may be able to land and reunite one superstar wide receiver with another. If they do, God bless everybody else, because Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, nothing on the Pittsburgh Steelers. But we'll dive into that here in a moment. It's a good one here in the Berg, nice and sunny. How you feeling, my friend?
I am feeling good. I got a lot of yard work done in the backyard, and I only stepped in one pile of poop accidentally. And honestly thought I was going to, it's always several. So the fact that it was just one today feels like a really positive sign. And I think really my dogs were just like setting me up for a great day and week. So, you may hear I stepped in poop. Oh man, that's terrible. No. We flip it around. We look at it the other way. I didn't step in as many piles of poop as I thought I would. So it's a great day for me.
That's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. And that's why you, Mr. Optimism out here, is always glass half full instead of glass half empty. And that's why, my friend, that's why we love you. Let's talk some Pittsburgh Steelers football. We'll start with the news and notes of the day, and that is DeShon Elliott not traveling with the team to Cincinnati as he deals with a personal issue. Don't know what that personal issue is. He said on the Christian Coons podcast a couple of weeks ago that his father was sick. I have zero idea if that's what it is. It's just the only thing that I could connect the dots with. Again, I'm not going to speculate. I'm just going to say that I hope DeShon is good and everything around him is good. Major loss for the Pittsburgh Steelers if he does not play. Juan Thornhill, Chuck Clark, Jabril Peppers will suit up for him. A lot of Jalen Ramsey in this one. But it's a game where if you're going to talk about an important part of the defense, stopping T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and that secondary is as big as it gets. I mean, it could be significant here. How significant could a loss be of DeShon Elliott against the Cincinnati Bengals tomorrow?
Well, it hurts. It hurts a lot. I mean, and I, am, I think, with you with the sort of fear of the trap game tomorrow. And I think without DeShon Elliott, there is a drop off just in sort of intensity with the Steelers defense that I fear could happen. But, let's try this optimism thing. Feels kind of good right now. Chuck Clark didn't get a hat in week 6 against the Cleveland Browns on a short week with limited rest. It's probably a good scenario for Chuck Clark to re-enter the Pittsburgh Steelers lineup, and going against, a very pass heavy Cincinnati Bengals team, having a guy who's pretty well equipped in pass protection like Chuck Clark kind of gives me some reassurance at the possibility of DeShon Elliott missing the game. So it's disappointing. We send him our best, hope that everything is okay. But there is some silver lining here with Chuck Clark being available in DeShon Elliott's absence.
I hope that Chuck Clark could rebound. I'll say this. The positive, the part of this that I think, I'm not going to say positive, the part of this that I think works for the Pittsburgh Steelers is that they have so many options that they've proven already that if one isn't working, maybe 2 will, maybe 3 will. If Chuck Clark's having a bad game, maybe Juan Thornhill's going to play bad. If Juan Thornhill's having a bad game, maybe Jabril Peppers is going to play a little bit better. I don't know. What I will also acknowledge, though, is that you already lost Miles Killebrew. This is not the ideal situation for the Pittsburgh Steelers to be down another safety, especially a big-time hitting, bruising, I'm going to make you pay safety. We'll see what happens. What's your expectation if he doesn't go? Do you see a lot of Juan Thornhill, Jalen Ramsey, or do you see this as a Chuck Clark re-enters the game? Because it's kind of surprising he went from starter to inactive. Or do you see this as Jabril Peppers, who starts along Jalen at the safety position?
I honestly think we would get a split in some ways between Chuck Clark and Jabril Peppers filling in for Deshaun Elliott. Jalen Ramsey will still be doing his thing, playing some spots in the safety position as well. But I do think Chuck Clark probably comes in on more pass heavy protections. And I think Jabril Peppers, he doesn't, he was given the 53-man roster spot in the Cleveland Browns game over Chuck Clark, which I found to be surprising. But he plays sort of that downhill thumping presence. He brings that like Deshaun Elliott would. So I think Jabril Peppers could fill in some parts. Chuck Clark can fill in some spots. And then you're going to have to probably rely a little bit more heavily on Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr., Darius Slay. Maybe you wanted to rest them a little bit more in this game if you could in the second half, but you're probably not going to get that luxury in this game against the Bengals. So
did you see the
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think we're going to see, in summation, a pretty even split of Clark and Peppers making up those snaps.
Did you see Bill Cowher? When you said this, it immediately sparked something in my brain, and I was like, "Oh, I have to say this right." I was like a little kid, and you were like, "Lollipop." I was like, "Grape, give me the grape one." Did you see Bill Cowher yesterday say that the Steelers should rest their starters moving forward?
I did
it's
see
week
that.
6, brother. What are we doing? Like week 7, excuse me. What are we doing? How did we get here? How did the man that was known for physicality and bringing toughness to the Steel City once again, how did we get here? How is he like, you know what, you should probably just sit everybody. It's okay. You already locked up the playoffs. That's I don't know. What's your thoughts on that one? That one was hilarious.
I mean, of all people to really say that, like you're talking about a guy who would run 3 a day, 4 a days when he was the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. This man was, intensity incarnate. And then he's like a happy-go-lucky grandpa being like, just let the kids rest. There's no reason to overexert them. Let them have an extra snack pack. It's not a big deal. And I think it's, there's some merit to it in the sense of you cannot overexert your stars, and the over-reliance on their stars has certainly cost them in the second half of their seasons in years past. I understand the need to preserve your best players. Week 7 just had a bye week, a week and a half ago. They get a nice 10-day resting period, 10, 11 days off until their next game after this. Probably not the part of the schedule where you need to be resting those players, but I'll give Cowher a little bit of grace here, and that there's a seed of truth in that you need to make sure you don't, screw up TJ Watt's season or overexert Nick Herbig. But my Lord, I'm not worried about this until week 18.
Bill, a lot of respect. What are we talking about here, brother? What are we even potentially talking about here, brother? Wild. You're wildest of the takes, Bill. You're wildest of the takes. All right, let's talk about another wild take here. AJ Brown. We have tried to avoid it. I'm just going to be really honest and blunt with everybody. This is as transparent of a podcast as they come most times, and I will be very honest with it. We tried very hard to avoid this because it just doesn't. It's crazy. But the crazy has come, and it has come full circle, and has landed on SI, and it has hit us square in the face in a way that it's time to address it, because maybe, just maybe, somebody can talk us into this, and I'd be excited if you could. CBS Sports dropped this bad boy the other day. They said landing spots for AJ Brown, Pittsburgh Steelers, could definitely be one of them. And that alone gets you going, maybe not. What gets you going, what? Is the fact that their trade proposal is this, my friend. Pat Freiermuth, Alex Highsmith, and a third round 2026 NFL draft pick, all in exchange for simply wide receiver AJ Brown. My friend, can we say wild? Is that a big enough word? Insane, maybe, could be up there as well. AJ Brown would be awesome for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Him and DK together would be sick. It would be electrifying. They would be the most physical tandem in the NFL. They were electric at Ole Miss, and that was before DK Metcalf was not DK Metcalf at Ole Miss. He was just a guy that had a ridiculous body at Ole Miss that was next to the first-round pick, AJ Brown. That's what he was. Now he's superstar, all-pro DK Metcalf with superstar all-pro A.J. Brown and two of them together playing in the NFL with Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback would be terrifying for 31 defenses. 31 of them would have very little chance to shut that down. There are some pullbacks to this, as if the Philadelphia Eagles, you would have to convince to trade a guy that comes with over $90 million in dead space or dead cap. You would have to give up a boatload of compensation to get him, because you'd have to convince them to give up the dead cap space and their top wide receiver on a playoff team, a team that's hopeful to get back to the Super Bowl. And you would be giving up not one, not two, but three pretty big assets to go get him. Do I think A.J. Brown would be awesome? Yes. Do I think there would be some trouble in Pittsburgh? Certainly. Do I think the Steelers would give up this trade package for him? Absolutely not. What's your thoughts, my friend?
I have 5 words to describe this proposal.
Okay.
Hilarious, chucklesome, ill thought.
Ill thought's a good one.
Impossible.
Ooh.
Outlandish. Like, listen, I agree with you 100% in the sense that A.J. Brown is an ideal fit, or a dream fit. If you're firing up the Xbox or the PlayStation and you're going through Madden and you got the chance to get A.J. Brown, you're gonna go get A.J. Brown and do some magical things, and God bless you on your way to a championship. But
yeah,
realistically, am I parting with 3 significant assets which all carry some value, especially Alex Highsmith, who I can't believe people even suggested trading him. That's crazy to me. Who would have ever thought? That's some people, the nerve on some people, right, Noah? And so I think the Highsmith is indispensable. A 3rd round pick carries a lot of weight. Pat Freiermuth is probably the most disposable asset of those 3 right now. Put them all together, I'm like, this is absolutely impossible and nothing the Steelers would touch. And I would love to make some sort of magical trade proposal happen that gets A.J. Brown to the Pittsburgh Steelers and is not a financial hardship for the team taking on that ginormous contract. But I really don't think there's anything in this ballpark set up by the CBS Sports trade proposal thing article that really gets me even excited.
No, look. If this was a trade proposal that said, and we could break it piece for piece, A.J. Brown for Pat Freiermuth and a 3rd. Yeah, let's have that conversation. Have the conversation. I'm down to have it. I think it works out? No, but I'm down to have the conversation. Alex Highsmith for A.J. Brown and a 5th. Yeah, let's have the conversation. And I think you're only giving up a 5th because wide receiver seems to have more value than outside linebacker, which makes no sense whatsoever. But I think the conversation's there. I think when you put it all together, it's ridiculous. It's one of the dumbest trades I've heard in a long time, just to be very blunt. And I look at it and say there's no chance. Now, do I think, and I'll ask you, do you think that the Steelers would call the Eagles? I'm not saying do you think the Steelers would offer a trade package? Do you think that the Steelers, in the midst of looking for a wide receiver, are going to call the Eagles and just say, how's it going? Because, and remember, let's remember who we're dealing with. This is not 2 years ago Pittsburgh Steelers. They called the Dolphins just to say what's up, and everybody tried to brush it off like it was nothing, and then they landed Jonnu Smith and Jalen Ramsey and traded Minkah Fitzpatrick. This is a different Pittsburgh Steelers team. Do you think that they'd call the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yeah, I really think they do. I don't know how far that conversation goes. I don't know how willing the Eagles are to even engage in any sort of conversations. And I don't know how much of this is just purely speculation and hypotheticals. But I think Omar Khan is certainly done already his due diligence when it comes to the wide receivers currently on the Philadelphia Eagles roster. Sorry, I just heard my dog just go nuts upstairs too. But I think it's a phone call that Omar Khan is absolutely planning to make, if he hasn't already made it. How far it goes from there, I don't even think it gets started. I don't even think they take 2 steps down that road before things get quickly turned around in terms of giving an actual evaluation on the likelihood of AJ Brown coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers. But Omar Khan's got to be flipping over every stone at this point, searching every which way to find that missing piece if there is one.
I think he is, and I think he will call the Philadelphia Eagles, and I do think he says, hey, what can we give up for AJ Brown? Is this a conversation to have? And I think Aaron Rodgers would be fine with it. I think AJ Brown would be fine with it. I don't think AJ Brown is a guy that hates that he's only at 35 yards a game. I think he's a guy that hates that his quarterback sucks and he's the only one that realizes it. You know, like Jalen Hurts is a phenomenal athlete and a winner. He's not a very good passer of the football. You know, there's like 6 plays a game or 6 plays a season where somebody sits there and puts on ESPN and goes, you see Dan Orlovsky, this is why Jalen Hurts is a stud. And we're out here talking about how he sucks. And you're like, God, dude, go ask his wide receiver. Go ask his wide receiver. Because I think that's what the issue is. You put him in an Aaron Rodgers offense where people are getting open and he's getting 4 or 5 passes a game for 65 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, I think things are okay. I think things are just fine. I don't think I'd take on the contract. I don't think I'd necessarily take on the trade compensation. What is the trade you'd give up for him? What's the one trade you'd be like, okay, dude, this is for AJ?
Like a 3rd round pick. Like a 2nd round pick.
Pretty good. That's a good one.
I think that'd be a great haul. Like I think you could, even if there's a very tidy way of figuring out the finances that again does not require the Steelers to absorb all of that money. A 2nd round pick I don't think is crazy because you're getting such a winning player, but it's just the trying to like work through the actual logistics of how this would work in my head as we're talking about it. It just feels like just such a crazy stretch. I think, do you think it's crazier? I don't know if you want to talk about this like tomorrow, but do you think it would be crazier for the Steelers to actually make an offer about AJ Brown or for like DeAndre Hopkins?
Oh, DeAndre Hopkins. Because
it's the Ravens.
Yeah, like who tossed that out today? It was PFF or something.
Those are best friends at PFF. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. First off, we'll transition to that in a second because it is awesome how PFF has spent the last 48 hours defending themselves about how they suck and everybody in the whole football world is calling them out for sucking. There is a 0% chance, okay, that the Steelers would get DeAndre Hopkins from the Ravens. First off, they don't want him. Why would you want DeAndre Hopkins? What are you going to get DeAndre Hopkins for? He's 6 years past his prime. We're good. Everything's fine. Second off, this is not the Cleveland Browns and Andrew Berry being idiots. You know, this is the Baltimore Ravens, who have a very good GM and would know, oh, you want to know what we shouldn't do? Give a wide receiver to the Pittsburgh Steelers when we still hope that Lamar Jackson could carry us to the playoffs. That sounds like a good one. No chance. AJ Brown at least makes some sense. At least he could go to, because you know he's in their GM's ear going, what's his name? Roseman? Howie, bro. Get me the hell out of here. I hate this place. Get me out of here. Send me to Pittsburgh. And I just think it could, I would go AJ all day. I think that's way more realistic. Now, PFF, that's a whole other conversation because those guys, did you see the 40-minute podcast that they put together on defending the Myles Garrett, TJ Watt situation?
No, I don't. Why would I?
I mean, I didn't either. Let's not sit here and act like
maybe you did for journalistic integrity.
No, I
One
didn't.
of us probably has
journalistic integrity goes right out the door the second you say PFF. When you have to spend that much time defending how the defense was that the Steelers schemed Myles Garrett really well, and that's why Myles still got an elite grade but didn't do anything, is because he was schemed really well. I'm pretty sure PFF is, I mean, I know what they're doing, you know what I mean? But I wish they would just admit that what I respect about Barstool Sports is that Barstool Sports says things all the time, like, got to do it for the content, you know, like they are making everybody aware that they are acting like clowns for a reason, because that's what their game is. And that they're very open for it. And I respect that, you know? PFF is just doing this because they think it's still like some big secret. And they're like, nah, you don't even know, man. We know better than you. No, dude, it's for the clicks. And we get it. It's for the clicks. But admit it. Just admit it. It was awesome. It was awesome. Seeing it on Pat McAfee's show was just incredible.
Yeah. I was going to say the JJ Watt stuff was,
awesome.
That was awesome. And again, I've said this on the show before, like there's some things that just like in the way that PFF compiles data that's like actually fun to look at. I don't agree with any grades they ever give out, nor do I like really factor them in into like real considerations. They're fun little data points to look at for sure.
Yes,
but
for
like they are why not just be like, oh, we are really good at compiling like where people line up at different snaps really quickly, and this is our take on it, and if you like it, great. If not, fine. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden it's like they're being like disgraced as if they are an institution of football, but it's like, dude, you guys are just an arbitrary rating system of football players that no one really agrees with.
It's hilarious. Shout out to PFF, man. They've built a business off this. Everyone forgets that they're owned by Colin Cowherd. Or not Colin Cowherd, Colin Collinsworth, Chris Collinsworth. Sorry. Everybody always forgets that. And because of that, you don't really know what you're talking about. It used to be good. It's come downhill quite a bit. And now it's just the Myles Garrett fan club. And that's like the worst fan club to be. Like there's so many cool guys out there. You pick Myles Garrett. That's just
loser.
Such a bummer. Such a bummer. All right. It's What's More Likely Wednesday. Let's dive into it. I got a 4-pack for you. I'm pretty fired up for this one because the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's the old man bowl. I hate that everyone, Dunk Bowl, dude. Shut up. I'm 29. I use more icy hot than both of those guys combined. It's the old man bowl. That's what this is. 40 versus 41. The Pittsburgh Steelers are in here doing a lot, hopefully walking away with the victory. I'm excited for this one. I got 4 for you. Let's start with the easy one here. The Pittsburgh Steelers. What's more likely? Their defense walks away in this one, leaving Cincinnati with more sacks in this game than they gave up points against the Browns, which is 9, or the youngest of the old men, Joe Flacco, will have more passing touchdowns than Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, man. 10 sacks. It's going to sound bad. This is not me being pessimistic. I just think the Steelers can win without having to over-rely on Aaron Rodgers slicing and dicing the very porous Cincinnati Bengals defense. I think it's more likely that Joe Flacco just finds a few little chinks in the armor and is able to get 2 passing touchdowns, and that's the only thing that happens for the Cincinnati Bengals, but the Steelers still come away with a victory in a decisive fashion. So
yes,
I gotta go with it's more likely that Flacco has more passing touchdowns than the Steelers will have 10 sacks. That's double-digit sacks. As much as I am in on this pass rush, that seems like a huge number to me.
They put up 6 against the Browns.
They did
6. They did 6. All righty. Here's number 2 for you. The Pittsburgh Steelers will flip over to the offensive side. What's more likely? Their offense has their best rushing performance of the season, 131 yards to this point, or Aaron Rodgers will have his best showing of the season against the Cincinnati defense that, well, stinks. 244 yards and 4 touchdowns. He did it in week 1 against the New York Jets.
Let's continue off of this. Let's go with the rushing. Let's say that it's more likely that the Pittsburgh Steelers put up a new season high in rushing yards. I think there's going to be ample opportunity for Jalen Moore and Kenneth Gainwell and maybe even Caleb Johnson to be taking a lot of handoffs. And so let's that would be, for me, a much better sign of progress too, to have another stacked performance of strong rushing for the offense compared to just Aaron Rodgers balling out. So I'll go best rushing game of the season so far.
You got a number? Do they surpass 150? Do they surpass 200?
Wow. I won't go 200 yet, but I'll say they get 152. There's your bold prediction.
I like it. All right, let's go back over to the defensive side of the football here. Nick Herbig, absolute, in the words of his brother Nate, stud. Here's a good one for you. Nick Herbig gets 3 sacks against the Bengals. His season high is 2. His career high is 2. 3 sacks against the Cincinnati Bengals, rushing off either end, doesn't matter. They both stink. Or TJ Watt reclaims the lead of Steelers sacks on the season. Right now, he trails Nick Herbig by 1.
Ooh, TJ Watt for sure. Can't catch me betting against TJ Watt. I think Nick Herbig is going to. I said something similar the other day about how he is the biggest beneficiary of how much attention TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith continue to get, and his quickness allows him to be effective in multiple different positions and spaces on the field. So he's going to get 1 or 2, but I think TJ Watt is just, going to feast against the Cincinnati Bengals, and I would not be shocked if he is the one who has that 3-sack game rather than Nick Herbig. So I'll go with the $41 million man there.
It's been a while since we've called him the $41 million man. It's a good time here, and we'll finish off with this bad boy. Plain and simple, okay? Here we go. It's a Thursday. We're still kind of a little bit tired from Sunday. It was a long one. We'll have a long night in Cincinnati. Hopefully boring enough that we're all going to bed early. You know what I mean? End of the third quarter, people are going, yo, watch the fourth quarter in bed. And then you're sleeping with 4 minutes left and you're feeling good. You wake up at 3. There's nothing a football fan can relate to more than that 4 a.m. wake up where you wake up and you go, oh God, I fell asleep. And there's ESPN. There's a random ESPN airing from like the 7th time on your television, and you're going, oh God, and you're scrambling through trying to find the score of the game just to make sure, just to see what happened, just to see what we've all done it 100 times. Easily. That's what you're hoping happens. What's more likely? The Pittsburgh Steelers shut down all the noise of a trap game. The Cleveland Browns, anything could happen. The Cincinnati Bengals, historically, Thursday night, Mike Tomlin's not that good. This could be a trap game. Oh, they're going to go to Chicago in a couple of weeks. Oh, they're going to play this bad team. Oh, they're going to play that bad team. All over. The Pittsburgh Steelers officially shut down the noise of a trap game this season. Or we come on this show Friday morning and we're talking about how maybe we got a little bit too excited about the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ooh. Man, the reckoning that would be taking place. No, I'm not there yet. I think it would have to be such an embarrassing loss.
Yes.
But I just think the Aaron Rodgers factor seems to outweigh these trap games. It seems to be the thing that tips the scales for the Pittsburgh Steelers in these situations. So I think it is more likely they come in here, just go into Cincinnati, rather take care of business, even on a short week. And then we're talking about, wow, this team really doesn't feel like they have that trap game sort of curse upon them this year that a Mike Tomlin team usually has. So I'm going with that.
I love it. I'm telling you this. This is my bold prediction for tomorrow, okay? Because we'll do bold predictions tomorrow before the game. We're coming on here tomorrow before the game. Won't be a full show. We'll just answer a lot of your guys' questions, make our predictions. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers win so well in this game that it is so impossible for PFF and everybody else to stop talking about how they aren't real contenders. And it's the Cincinnati Bengals. I get it. They suck. Mm-hmm. But I think they win this game so impressively that it's just like, okay, at some point you got to say that the Steelers can beat all the bad teams. So let's have a conversation about if they can win the good teams. And I think that's a good one to be at. All right, guys, that's everything on our agenda today. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side of it, we're going to start answering all your questions. So toss them in the chat. We'll be right back. What's up, AST Nation? I've teamed up with DraftKings. The next great touchdown is coming. You can bet on it. And the best way to do so is through DraftKings Sportsbook, where new customers who bet $5 get $300 in bonus bets plus 3 months of NBA League Pass if your bet wins. That means new customers turn $5 into $300 if your bet wins in bonus bets. The crown is yours. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has got you covered. Bet live on in-progress games right as they happen. Then use your bonus bets to stay in on the action and bet DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. And don't worry, if sports betting is not yet available in your state, you're fine. you can still join in on all of the fun with DraftKings daily fantasy sports and have the shot to win cash prizes. New customers who bet $5 get $300 in bonus bets and 3 months of NBA League Pass if your bet wins. Sign up using my promo code ALLSteelers and get in on the action. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Shout out our boys over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Shout out to our members. Shout out to our super chatters. Can't thank you guys enough for everything that you do for us. Take a moment, if you could, after the podcast, go to our community page. We are giving away a Kaya Tomlin sweatshirt, a We Don't Live in Our Fears sweatshirt. 10% of the proceeds from that sweatshirt go towards the Bridges. I can't be the guy that screws that up. I just can't do it. That's just not what I do. It's not who we're at. It's not who we are. Goes towards, I got it here. Don't worry. We're pulling it up. Internet could be slow at the worst time ever, but we're pulling it up. Goes towards Cancer Bridges Foundation here in Pittsburgh. And then the Mike Tomlin family is matching that donation as well. We got one. I got one for a loved one of mine. And as I said, we're giving one away. So make sure that you guys, all you got to do is become a subscriber. Once you become a subscriber, a random lucky subscriber will be picked at the end of the month. And we'll give you guys a shout out to who it is. With that said, let's start answering all your questions. Toss them in the chat. We'll get to as many of them as we can before we head out of here. First, DK Yinzer becoming a YouTube member. Shout out, my guy. Appreciate you and appreciate everybody else. Make sure you're calling into the Wednesday call-in show next week. It was a good one today. If you didn't watch it, check it out. It was fun, as always. Ricky Hudgens here. What's more likely? Aaron Rodgers has 3+ touchdowns or TJ Watt has 3+ sacks? I know what you're going to say in this, and I am ready for it because I think I'm feeling the opposite.
I am only assuming you're going to take Aaron Rodgers here, and I am going to take TJ Watt because I think he's going to be the one who just gets to the quarterback first. And it's, everybody's taking sacks from everybody in the Pittsburgh defense. You got Derek Harmon's should have like 6 extra sacks. You got Cam Hayward should have a couple more. TJ Watt should have a couple more. So I think, we're going to still see a lot of work getting done by this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And then TJ Watt just gets to, pick up the goods. So I'm going to go that. And I want to hear your reasoning for Aaron Rodgers, which is, I know the one you want to talk about.
I was going to go TJ Watt.
Get the F out of here.
I was going TJ Watt. I think TJ has a ridiculous game against the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm sorry for Joe Flacco. I'm going to apologize. I'm going to make a public apology beforehand that I think this man is going to leave this game, and it's going to be the first time in his NFL career that goes, I think I got to call it a day. I think I got to hang it up.
Wow.
I think this is it. I think that's what's going to happen here because it's going to get bad fast. And I'm feeling a big day from TJ Watt, dude. Big day from TJ Watt and the entire defense. But every time we start to kind of have the conversation of oh man, is TJ not as good as we think he is anymore? Is Nick Herbig and Jalen Ramsey surpassing him? He does something nuts. And kind of feels like a nuts game for good old TJ Watt. So I'm going TJ on that one. I'm going TJ.
Look at us.
Look at us. Bless Light. Just want to say, don't listen to the haters on Twitter. You and Jacob are killing it. Love the show. Bless Light. I know exactly what you're talking about. My guy. No, it's just some.
Tell me after the show.
I'll tell you after the show. It wasn't even anything serious. I'm going to be really honest with you guys. I'm all about bringing up a little podcast, man. I love helping out podcasts. If you are a younger podcast and you are trying to get off the ground, hit me up. If I see the DM, I'm going to do everything I can to jump on that show. I've been on his, and I think it's hilarious that, we took a stray. Why, Frager? First of all, want to say love the content. My question is, where do you think the Steelers will get this season without adding another stud receiver? First off, appreciate you, my guy. I think the Steelers are still. Jacob's not ready to declare these guys Steelers. They are Steelers. To declare them contenders yet. He's still a little bit. It's early in the season. I'm full blown Steelers are contenders, and I like where I'm at. I would say even without a wide receiver, I like the Steelers' chances in the AFC. I don't think it's a guarantee, but I think that they are still easily the favorites in the AFC North and pretty high up there in the AFC. So I would say even without it, I'm not ruling out anything could happen this season for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, man. I mean, yes, you are right. I am, yeah, cautiously pessimistic about this still for sure. And I think I just need to get further into the regular season before I kind of jump completely into this camp of the Steelers are bona fide contenders, unquestioned contenders. But I mean, they're building their case week by week. And it's just, you really are, I'm losing ground to stand on whenever I come back and say this every day or each week as that passes. But without, there's a reason I put them third in my power rankings, for this past week, and they still don't have that extra wide receiver. It's because they're finding ways to win despite all of the setbacks and despite all of the sort of doubts that are continuing to be cast on this team. So, as long as they keep doing that, I think they can go a lot farther than I think they can. But I do think they need a little bit more help to get to where they want to go ultimately.
I'm curious to see where our conversations lead at the end of the season. That's what I'm very curious to see where our conversations lead later, because it's an interesting and a very, very fun season for sure. Eduardo, I got to address this right now, dude, because you said it early. It scared the living bejesus out of me, because I was literally just over here like, now, is there someone behind you, or is that like, what are you doing? Dude, you know what's going on. I've been watching scary movies because it's spooky season, and you're out here just bringing up the ghost conversation. Dude, scared the hell out of me when you put it out. I was like, I know you're joking, but now I'm panicking. Now I'm a little bit panicking. It's not, I don't appreciate it.
Have I ever told you about when my wife and one of her friends hacked our security system at our house and played music through it without me knowing, and I thought I was being murdered? It was the worst thing. I'll have my wife tell you the next time we talk, because she loves telling this story.
I will actually. We might actually have to do something very soon, because now I need to know. I need to know.
It's great. It was awful. Didn't poop myself though. Got close.
Shout out to only one way to skin a cat, Stephen Cornfield. 8 sacks or 4 takeaways. A-Rod 4 touchdowns, or Ramsey a pick 6. Ooh, all right, let's start with the first one. I'm going 8 sacks. I think 8 sacks is, if you did 6 against the Browns, I think you could get 8 against the Bengals. That's my first of these two. I'd go what's more likely. I'm going 8 sacks. If the baseline is 6, I'm feeling good about the 8.
8 seems doable. Double digits seems unattainable right now still. 8 seems like they could do it. Again, they had, I think, easily 8 to 10 opportunities to sack Dylan Gabriel last week. So you finish a couple of those plays, I can see it.
All right, second one here. A-Rod 4 touchdowns, or a Ramsey pick 6. I think a Ramsey pick 6 is doable. Here's the thing though. Joe doesn't throw interceptions. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. He might score 0 points in a game, but he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. Mm-hmm. I still think I'm going pick 6. It's time for Ramsey to score a touchdown in Pittsburgh. He's done literally everything else. It's just he's got to score a touchdown. And he should have had one against Minnesota if Jordan Mason wasn't freakishly athletic. So, and very smart. I'm going, what's more likely? I'm going to Ramsey pick 6.
Yes, especially because I didn't think I thought it was more likely that TJ Watt had 3+ sacks than Aaron Rodgers threw 3+ touchdowns. I think I have to go with Ramsey getting a pick 6 is a little bit more likely than A-Rod throwing 4 touchdowns. But, I mean, I guess I'd love to be, I will be so fine being wrong about this, what's more likely. If Aaron Rodgers throws 4 touchdowns, I'm not going to be mad about that.
No, gosh, no, not at all. Rats, should we fire Pat Myers? This is a very interesting conversation, because do I think the Steelers are going to fire Pat Myers? No. But Bill Callahan just became available from the Tennessee Titans, and in my eyes, he is potentially the best offensive line coach in the NFL right now. And I'm not going to say that I hate the idea of at least having the conversation of, do we not miss out on him? So while I'm not going to say yes, I'm very open, I'll say, to the conversation of if the Steelers should take a chance on Bill Callahan before they miss that chance.
I don't disagree. I completely agree with this. Like, there's Bill Callahan is a very sizable upgrade from Pat Myers, and I agree with you 100%. The Steelers will not fire him in season.
No.
And I, the way that they are playing better the past couple of weeks, like, Broderick Jones basically has a job for as long as he wants with the Pittsburgh Steelers, because he can stop Myles Garrett now. So,
yes,
that's
for sure.
So I think Pat Myers might be able to be like, see what kind of work I did this past weekend, Mike, and he's just like, really. So I can see the Steelers sort of hanging their hat on that performance and seeing that as a step forward for Pat Myers and giving them all the reason not to fire him. That being said, Bill Callahan has experience out the wazoo. He clearly only went to Tennessee as a favor to his son while he was the head coach.
Yes.
And that's not the case anymore. He's shown the Steelers have a lot of experience playing against him, especially whenever he was with the Cleveland Browns. And so I think he could come in here and really be that missing piece on the staff that could really help this team take the next step. But I don't think it's going to happen at all.
I agree with that. And you got to hope that he's there at the end of the season, because if he is, I'm having that conversation. For people who do not know, it's not Brian Callahan. Brian Callahan's father is a longtime offensive line coach in the NFL. He left Cleveland to go to Tennessee when his son was hired as a head coach there, and then resigned when his son got fired in Tennessee. There's a story on it on si.com/NFL/Steelers, because Bill, his dad, is a legend. And that would be it'd be a good time for sure. Cameron, would you give up a sack a game, a half a touchdown a game, and a third for a touchdown a game? In other words, are these equivalent to what they are? It's the Pat Freiermuth, Alex Highsmith, and a third for AJ Brown in other terms. And I'll be honest, again, if you remove Alex Highsmith, I'm having the conversation. At the beginning of the season, I wouldn't have that conversation. The way that the Steelers are utilizing Pat Freiermuth, I'd have that conversation. But I think when you put them all together, no, I'm just not I'm not about it. I think that's where I end the conversation is you're adding too much. And knowing the Steelers' luck, TJ, snaps his left eye in half or something. You know what I mean? A week after the trade, and then it's over. That's just where I'm at. Dylan Cooper, shout out my guy, becoming a YouTube member. Please make sure that you are calling into the call-in show for sure. Talking trash with the Steelers gang, the Senior Bowl. Fantastic nickname that we have overlooked 100%. 100,000% on this one. Just saying.
The Access Van Riders.
Oh, so good. So good. Michael, what's more likely? Kenny G grabs most total yards out of the backfield, or Jaylen Warren fumbles? Damn it. I don't like this one. at all. I'm going to go Kenny G, because I don't want to put that bad juju on Jaylen. I'm going to go Kenny G. The Jaylen does have some, but Jaylen runs so hard that I'm like, okay with it every once in a while. But I'm going Kenny G. And I would love for Kenny. I think if Kenny G and Jaylen are going to swap big games every week, I got no problem with it. I'm very okay with it. So I'd go Kenny G, mostly because I don't want to jinx him. That's okay.
Yeah, you should be. You should be sorry. That's no, 100%. No, I agree with you. I don't. Man, you gotta just hope that those fumbles don't reappear as a problem for Jaylen Warren. And I think it would make you happy, Noah, certainly, to have these players swapping big games. I have a feeling that the Pittsburgh Steelers coaching staff would also be pretty okay with that too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I think that's part of the game plan as they move forward. ND Joe, bold prediction. Steelers defense walks away with 4 interceptions due to the missed opportunities last week. My only pullback on this, I would love it. I love the bold prediction. Starting it off hot a day early.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Love it. Love it. My only big thing here is I don't think Joe throws a lot of interceptions. I could be wrong here. I'll look it up, but I don't think Joe Flacco's a turnover machine. He's played for the 3 other AFC North teams. Not the Steelers. Okay, I take it completely back. He's got 6 on the season. So there's a possibility.
Already?
Yeah. Oh, I'm here. I'm lagging. I promise that I'm still here. We're good.
You here? We got you.
Yeah. We're here. You can hear me. That's all that matters. Every time I change. Whoa. Did you see that one? That's crazy. That's crazy.
Must have been the ghost.
I like it. I officially like it. Let's not do it here, brother. Let's not do it. Me and Cup of Joe green bean salad did it earlier, and I was not a fan, brother. I was not a fan. I was not a fan at all. Eddie the First. It's alternative uni game, right? For the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm not positive if it's for the Steelers as well. I'm not 100%.
Do you want me to try to look it up real quick so you don't?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll lag for 10 years, so let's
give me a second.
You're gonna officially be the lookup guy. You're the blind one. I'm the one that
that's why I keep
lags.
This. Yeah. Look at us. This is how they led a nation.
Facts. I need a little side one here. You know what I mean? Like that's what we need. We need a second.
Yeah. We
need a second laptop. All right. If someone wants to super gift us a second laptop, that would be very nice. We'd appreciate that. All right. What do we got here? Nothing. All right. We'll come back.
No, I'm still looking. Yeah. You got to keep vamping for me. Sorry.
We'll come back. No worries about it whatsoever. Steelers fan 8. What's more likely? DK gets 2 touchdowns or Herbig gets 3 sacks. DK 2 touchdowns all day. Like
who's going to stop him?
Nobody. I'm going DK. I think DK is going to have a game, my friend, an absolute game. And yeah. It's like Noah travels every time he lags. It's how I feel, my friends. It's how
Can't
I feel.
Find anything to suggest the Steelers are wearing different uniforms other than the regular road ones tomorrow.
I think that they are. I think this is just a Cincinnati alternate uniform game. And I'm not going to act like there wasn't a noise right there. And I think that bodes well for the Steelers because you want to know who always plays worse in alternate uniforms? The team wearing them. The team wearing them every time. All right, let's keep it trucking here. Michael, what's more likely? JPJ finally lags a pick or mutes 4 receptions, 50+ yards, and a touchdown. I hate talking ill against my boy Pat, man. I hate talking about it because he's such a good dude. He's so warm, welcoming. He's a hard worker.
Mm-hmm.
It's Joey Porter Jr. though. It's without question Joey Porter Jr. Without question.
Yeah, I can't get fooled again. Last week I tried to drum up a little bit more optimism that maybe this was going to be the way the pendulum was going to swing back into Freiermuth's favor and he's going to reemerge in the offense. It might happen, right? Like it might still happen this year. There's so many games left. They're obviously going to need to continue to find different looks, but man, Joey Porter Jr. was like right there. He looks so determined. He's looked incredible in practice since he's gotten back. It's got to be him.
It's got to be him. It's got to be him for sure. Keeping it trucking here, Maddie. Are we worried about the Steelers lacking in the secondary without Elliott? I'm honestly not. I feel pretty okay. About the Steelers secondary. I think Elliott's a huge part of this. I just like you got to have time to throw the football. You know, that's where I feel good about it is you have to have time to throw the football. You're not going to get that. You're just not. And I feel because of that, the Steelers still have an upper hand. If they lost all of their pass rushers, I'd feel differently. And again, I'm not trying to say that they're going to be up to snuff, but I think they're going to be good enough, even without Deshaun Elliott, if he doesn't play.
Well, yes, I have maybe more faith than I should in the collection of Chuck Clark and Jabril Peppers and Juan Thornhill playing good enough. But more importantly, I think this game against the Bengals is so important, and it's the most important players on the Pittsburgh Steelers defense are those three starting cornerbacks, and I think they are the ones who have to make up the difference, especially now with Deshaun Elliott being out. But it was already about, can Jalen Ramsey and Joey Porter Jr. effectively lock down T. Higgins and Jamar Chase? Like that is the matchup to watch tomorrow. It already was the matchup to watch. Deshaun Elliott was going to help take care of the rest, but it's still about those two main corners shutting down those two passing options in Cincinnati.
I agree for sure. Want to give some love to Maddie here. Got into a car accident, so I need to save as much money as I can, but still listening every day. Man, dude, I hate that happened to you. I'm so sorry.
Maddie.
Yeah, we're here for you, and keep on trucking, dude. We're here. We email us if you need some help. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'll do what I can always. You know what I mean? That's what I'm here for.
For sure. Hope you're taking care of yourself. Hope you're getting as much rest and recuperation as you need.
I'll be a slap the guy right across the face who hit you.
I mess him up for you, Maddie.
For sure, dude. Thoughts and prayers, though, for real. Thinking about you and anything we could do to help, for sure. Chris, guys, I like trading for A.J. Brown. I think the size, speed, and athleticism, our passing game would have really be a game changer for us. Would really be a game changer for us. Oh, for sure. Like, for sure. I think AJ Brown is a game. AJ Brown makes the Steelers a Super Bowl, like, okay, it's hard to deny this anymore, contender. I think it's what you're going to give. It was the trade and how unrealistic it was for me that said no. But again, do I think that they'd call? Yeah. Do I think they'd do something crazy like take on his contract if the price was right? Do I think that the Eagles would say yes? No. But I think the Steelers would do their part. I think they would do everything they can. And I don't disagree with you at all, Chris. I think he'd be ridiculous next to DK Metcalf. That is, I mean, in my opinion, that's the best wide receiver core in the NFL. Those two alone.
Oh, it's not even close if that's who you have.
I think it's like, it would be crazy. It would be crazy. But again, that's where we're at. That's where I just don't know if they would actually give it up. Jacob's favorite receiver. What's more likely? Roman Wilson has 5 receptions for over 50 yards, or Ben Skoranek 2 touchdowns receptions. I'm going to let Jacob answer this on his favorite receiver. What's more likely?
You know what? It's more likely that my favorite receiver, a player that I have never once said a bad word about and never would ever think to, Roman Wilson, probably show this. I think it's got to be him. Benny Sko, as much as Aaron Rodgers clearly likes him, as much as special teams coach Danny Smith really loves him, and the impact he brings in those areas is great. I don't think they're gonna get the ball to Ben Skoranek twice near the end zone. I would be shocked if that happens. And I also think that this is, if there was ever a defense for Roman Wilson to get some extra looks against, the Cincinnati Bengals are a good team to sort of exploit for that reason. So I think it's probably more likely that Roman Wilson has his first real game as an NFL wide receiver than it is Benny Sko has another magic show and has 2 touchdowns.
Ooh, that was smooth, dude. That was smooth like butter. I love it so much. I would love Roman to have 5 catches, 5 receptions. It would make my to-go this morning look even more ridiculous than it was. But I stand by it. I stand by it for sure. Tortellini salad. What's more likely? A-Rod gets his 5th MVP or wins comeback player of the year. I would say
comeback player of the year.
Yeah. Unless did they change it already? That it has to be an injury. I think they did change it. That it has to be an injury.
I know who's supposed to look stuff up, so give me a second.
I appreciate you. I think honestly, right now it's MVP. It's Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's probably the favorite. Aaron Rodgers, Chase, and Daniel Jones. Those are the MVP candidates right now, which is so awesome because what the odds were for those 3 to be MVP finalists at the beginning of the season were -7 billion. Whoever put that down would have just made $1 million. And I love it. I love it.
The criteria was changed slightly in 2023. So to the AP Comeback Player of the Year award is to honor players demonstrated resilience in the face of adversity by overcoming illness, physical injury, or other circumstances that led him to miss playing time the previous season.
Yeah.
That or other circumstances is so ambiguous and
Yeah,
vague.
but it's no,
It's
you,
like
you want to know what
injuries, but-
others? No, it's death. That's why they changed the rule, because DeMar
Mhm.
Hamlin died, came back to the NFL, and Joe Flacco won Comeback Player of the Year, and everybody went, I don't think that one counts. I don't think that one should. Joe should have walked up when he won it and said, "Yeah, guys, this is wrong. I didn't win this award. DeMar Hamlin won this. He died. He literally died, and it was crazy. And then played football the next season. Could you imagine, dude? Could you imagine if I died? There's no chance I'm playing football the next year. No chance. No chance.
And he's still on the DeMar's still on the Bills, right?
Just got put on IR the other day, but yes,
Dude.
yes.
That's incredible. Went to the same high school as him. How about that? Two
out.
great alumni.
That's what they say, dude. It's Jacob Punteri and it's DeMar Hamlin.
DeMar Hamlin, Dan Marino, Jake Punteri.
When you guys all walk into a room, everybody goes, "Oh my gosh!" And Dan's like, "Why they never look at me? What's going on here? Why they never look at me?" Michael, what's more likely, Steelers trade for AJ Brown or I get signed to the Steelers practice squad? 6'3", 205 though. 6'3", 205. Look at, it's better chances than me getting signed to the practice squad. I'll tell you that. 5'8", 190, and I'm not, 195 soaking wet. I would say AJ Brown still. Sorry, brother. Would love it, but it would be cool. It'd be cool just because I know you. You know what I mean? You show up and be like, "Oh, this is my source. Here it is. Let's add it in here."
Cool.
AJ Brown, brother. It's AJ Brown. But my friend, we have some dogs on this show. So shout out my guys. Shout out my guys.
Picnic Pack practice squad could take down any other podcast in football.
That might be true, dude. That might be true.
I bet it is.
Shout out to everybody who's ginormous and not us. Nicholas, last year I had a dream Eagles beat Chiefs in the Super Bowl before the season. This year my dream was Steelers versus Packers, but Packers blow us out, sadly. Look at, dude, they say 50% of dreams are correct. Okay. So that just means that the other 50 are wrong. I did right now. It's fine. Somebody just down the ghost just said it too. That's two people. That's they. So I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be fun. I think this would be iconic though. You want to talk like the NFL did it right. Script writers, they handed us, that's not the script they gave us, but if that's what it turned out to be, they won that one for sure. For sure. Which I believe this because in high school, I had a dream that a girl was going to dump me and then she dumped me. And since then I've been like, every dream I've ever had, I'm like, you son of a bitch, you terrible. You know what I mean? Terrible.
Can't do that.
Terrible. It's like when your wife has a dream that you were mean to her in your dream, and then she wakes up and all day she hates you. And you know what I mean? I've been on the other side of that. I've been there. So shout out 50% of them. 50% of them. Lindsay, what happens if next year Aaron Rodgers retires? Won't AJ Brown hate it here too? Probably. That's the one side of this that I didn't want to really bag on a guy who isn't here yet, but it does give me not great, personality vibes, definitely some character issues, and it scares me a little bit. But I think you win the Super Bowl. Who cares? You know, you'll just trade him next year. You'll just be like, yeah, whatever, dude. We'll just figure this out again. So it'll be fine. I think you take those risks for a Super Bowl and you worry about next year. That's where I'm at with the Steelers. Is you take your licks now, worry about them next year, and I'd feel pretty okay with that.
Yeah. You worry about next year's problem next year if it meant that you got a player of that caliber. But no, it's an incredible point, Lindsay, because you go from Aaron Rodgers to Mason or some Will Howard. That's if he's not happy with Jalen Hurts throwing him the ball, can't imagine Mason Rudolph and Will Howard get this man too excited.
I agree. Danny, what's more likely? Ramsey has multiple sacks or we get multiple turnovers? I'm going multiple turnovers. Now that I know Joe Flacco's an interception machine this season, and I'm going to lag again. Here we go. But last year he had six. Nope. Last year he had 7. The year before that 8. I'm going multiple turnovers.
Yeah, I think Cincinnati's probably keenly aware of how the Steelers were able to get Jalen Ramsey home twice against the Bengals or against the Browns, excuse me. So I think he's still going to be effective, but it's probably going to be harder for him to get into the backfield like that. So yeah, let's go, force fumble and an interception over 2 sacks. I can see that happening.
I agree. Vincent, did the Steelers miss on Ibuka? He's a stud. My answer to this is yes. But he was drafted before the Steelers. I'm almost positive.
I'm pretty sure. I will look it up for sure. And kudos to you for doing a better job of pronouncing that than
Rob Gronkowski.
Our boy Rob Gronkowski. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ibuka was.
I'm pretty sure Ibuka was like 18
19th.
or something. 19th, right before him. That's where they were. Yeah. Steelers picked 20th, 21st, 22nd, something in that ballpark.
I believe it was 20th actually. Derek Carmen would have been taken right after that, but I'll double check right 20th, now as well.
Yeah. No, you're right on that. So that's what I mean.
21st.
Would have been huge.
He was 21st.
Would have been huge. I think Emeka Ibuka's a stud, but didn't have a shot at him. Talking trash with the Steelers gang. Dude, no, we need you on the show, bro, so we can get to the bottom of this. Also, Jacob, come talk that ish on Game Blitz with Izzy 6 Steelers. I need to hear Noah or Jacob drop an F-bomb. The fans want to hear it. I will not be dropping an F-bomb unless you get me to say it unironically. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be just very casual in the moment. Oh my gosh, my mom's going to be so pissed. The funniest thing is I drop F-bombs to my mom all the time, dude. So
we're have a reputation to uphold. Cannot be dropping F-bombs everywhere.
Jacob drops more F-bombs than
I've dropped them.
Anybody on the history of the show.
Probably 5%. I try not to, but it just goes to show I say it a lot when I'm not on the air or in a professional setting, and I would probably be dropping them a lot on your show as well. So I gotta resist the urge right now, but I appreciate the invite. I gotta come on soon.
Yeah, we do gotta shoot us an email. You're a member, so you got the email. Shoot us an email. We'll love to figure something out when our schedules line up for sure. Carl, Mean Cup of Joe, Green Bean, Spackler, game versus Colts. What's more likely, game versus Colts or game versus Bills? AFC 1 seed game. It's got to be we already know it's got to be Danny Dimes. Aaron Rodgers deciding the 1 seed. Would have thought that one was for you, Game Day Blitz. Shout out.
I mean, are you worried? Are you worried at all that that's too early in the calendar to be deciding that? Or is it just like, this is going to decide who the actual top dog is, and then we'll just kind of go from there?
I think there's a chance the Bills lose a couple of games this season just because they're trying to figure some things out. And they're in the Patrick Mahomes Chiefs era of like, come the playoffs, we'll be fine. But before the playoffs, we'll see what happens. I think the Colts are going to have some crazy year because who they playing in the AFC South? Nobody. You know what I mean? Who you taking on, the Titans twice a year? Oh gosh. You know what I mean? Like scary. The Jacksonville Jaguars are fake good. It's just, I could see it. I could see it. I don't think I'm super worried. That being said, the Bills might decide it because it's later in the year. They might decide it for the Colts. But I would say if the Steelers beat the Colts, I feel pretty good about that situation.
Wild that we're talking about AFC, the premier team in the AFC, and we're talking about the Steelers and the Colts. Is this 2005?
I love this. I love it. Artisanal Bully Kennel. That is false. I was at the Colorado Rush game against the Giants last year and we won, but I will say every team that has worn their rival jerseys this year has lost. There's also another one about from Only One Way to Skin a Cat. What does that say about the Steelers next week in their jerseys? Look at, you want to know who's actually good in their alternate jerseys? The Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers are good in their alternate jerseys. The rest of the NFL is not. That's my take on this. It just is. Like, that's just, the Steelers are historically pretty good in their throwback uniforms. The rest of the NFL is, some of them are good, some of them are not, but the Bengals are definitely not. You're telling me those white uniforms, bleh, bleh, they're disgusting. They're disgusting. No, the answer is no. The answer is no. What are you looking up? We looking up the...
I'm trying to find an overall record of this team in alternate uniforms, but that's, oh gosh, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. Is the best that I can find.
They're pretty good. StatMuse doesn't have it. I feel like if you Googled Steelers record in alternative uniforms, it'd just come right up in Google.
I tell you what, just what just does their job and doesn't complain about it. StatMuse. My goodness gracious, what a resource. Yeah. Doesn't complain, doesn't say, "Oh, why are you mad about our stats?"
Every time. I don't know what's going on with Google here, man, but my laptop is being, this is why I need another one. So I need a second one. The Steelers have an 8-3 record in their black and gold color rush uniforms. Their overall record in alternative uniforms combined are 13-3.
Wow. That's what I'm saying. I told you they were pretty good.
That's what I'm saying. Things will be fine. Things will be just fine. Artisanal Bully Kennel, I hear you. It'll be just fine. Almost All-Star, do you have any reporting as to why the field was so bad? Who decided to either, one, not water the field, or two, didn't replace the turf before the game like last week? I have no idea what happened. What I do know is that Steelers players and Browns players called in fury to the NFLPA saying, "What the hell was that? This is ridiculous." And whoever it was is most likely going to lose their job, which stinks because it's one blunder, but it's a big one. And I can't say that I wouldn't be upset. I heard multiple players. I'm not going to name names, but I heard multiple players freaked out after the game on, like, coaches and staff just being like, "I don't know who the hell I need to talk to, but this is ridiculous. Like, this was so bad." So I know it's going to come through. And we'll see what happens. But no, I don't know what happened. Only One Way to Skin a Cat. Bengals all white uniforms will look like the Browns. It's true. They're so ugly, dude. The Bengals uniforms are ugly to begin with. I'm not a Bengals uniform guy. I'm just not. They're just not good looking uniforms. And they'll look like the Browns when they're all grossed up and, Joe Flacco's got grass flying out of everywhere because he's getting sacked 14 times. Shout out. Michael Fowler, the way the Steelers are finding a way to win is why I think they are contenders. Do you think that the Steelers go into semi-rebuild mode next year to get younger? I think it depends on if they win a Super Bowl. If they win a Super Bowl, yes. If they don't win a Super Bowl, I think that they try to convince Aaron to come back for one more season and they see what they can do. You know what I mean? And then I think after that, I think it's over. But I think the Steelers would be open to Aaron trying to run this thing back after what they've seen so far. And then after that, but if they win a Super Bowl, yes, like big time rebuild mode.
Ooh, I don't know if I agree with all of that. I think they are gonna have to semi-rebuild a little bit next year regardless.
At some positions for sure.
Yeah, so I guess I'm just getting like too lost in the wording here, but like I think they're gonna have to basically semi-rebuild regardless of if Aaron Rodgers comes back or not. I don't think they're gonna have much of a choice. But I don't think they're going to be. I think as long as Mike Tomlin is the head coach and they keep finding these ways to stick around the playoff hunt and stuff, I don't think they're going to ever just like throw it all back, go back to the drawing board and start from scratch under him.
No, I think it'd be a quarterback rebuild, and that's probably where they're at. Shout out to Fantasy Football Imaginary Football League podcast, which is a new podcast. Hope you enjoy it. Anybody who wants to check it out, go check it out. I might give it a listen tonight. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll turn it on. You guys know I don't watch television. All I do is watch podcasts. So shout out my guys. Hope it's a good one. Dylan Cooper, how long do you think before the Steelers trade for a real wide receiver 2? I think it's right at the trade deadline. And this is coming from conversations. I'm not saying sources. I'm not saying this is a report. I'm saying that the Steelers are not looking to do it tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like that's that's the vibe I'm getting here. But here's a good one. Which wide receiver would be better for the Steelers, Jalen Waddle or Jacoby Myers?
Jalen Waddle by a country mile.
By a billion, because Jalen Waddle is the best. I'm all about Jalen Waddle, dude. I'm so head over heels about trading for Jalen Waddle. It's crazy. I can't get over it. I'm going to speak it into existence. And when it does happen or doesn't happen, I'm either going to be like, this is the greatest move the Steelers made, or this is a bad move. And either way, they don't care, but I'll have fun with it. Dalton, hey, Noah, Highsmith and a 4th for Olave and a 5th. Who says no? Oh,
Steelers.
I honestly think the Steelers would have this conversation. I don't think you're giving up a 4th. I think Highsmith for Olave and a 5th is the conversation. Highsmith and a 6th. Chris Olave is not worth more than Alex Highsmith.
No,
he's just not. He does it's just, I don't think that that's the case. And I think around the league that would be pretty known. I'd go I think there'd be a conversation to Alex Highsmith at a 7th for Chris Olave and a 5th. I'd have a hard time saying yes to that.
Yeah, I still think it's the Steelers. Even with all, I think a conversation, yes. I think the Steelers are the ones who are more hesitant here because Chris, I hate to. I don't want to bash on Chris Olave. I think I've just soured on him because I just don't want the Steelers to take a risk on an injury. Such an injury, not prone, but the concussions are such a worrying issue that I think it's not worth the risk.
Yeah, I very much so agree. And let's finish it off with prime shade here. Per my sources, say that Olave is a Steeler for a 3rd round pick. He's the same guy who told me about Deshaun Elliott's extension and Minkah Fitzpatrick's trade.
Well, I was probably wrong then about 4 seconds ago, no?
Interesting conversation here, for sure. Prime Shade, I don't know your source. I've not heard this, but I'm not going to say that you're wrong because that's not cool of me. It's not cool of me. I'm not going to do that. I would say that's not the best trade the Steelers can make, but an interesting one for sure. Wouldn't be stunned by it. What would be your surprise level if that happened?
I would be a scale of 1 to 10. I would be like a 7, shocked. Just because just Olave, just again, as I explained a minute or two ago, just does not feel like the fit anymore for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What I would not be surprised about is the trade details. A 3rd round pick for Chris Olave, if that's what the Steelers are going to give up for a quote unquote wide receiver 2, great.
I think I'd be a 4. Shout out to Jacob.
That's a great number.
It's Jacob. Shout out to Jacob Maturi. I think I'd be a 4, and I think I'd only be a 4 because I think the Steelers really do want a wide receiver, and I can't pinpoint the one that they're going to get. It should be Jalen Waddle, but if it's Chris Olave, I'm not upset about it. Wear a Guardian cap, but I don't think I'd be too upset about it. But Prime Shade, we'll remember it. If it happens, we'll remember it. And we got to keep the trend going. We have to. It's been all week. We got to continue it here. We'll finish it off with Pittsburgh Hornets. Jacob, what's more likely? Captain America, Brand New World places in the top 8 grossing Marvel Comics universe films. Wow, I knew that one. Or Steelers hit on the next quarterback.
Steelers quarterback. Oh gosh. Yeah, Brave New World grossed like something like 400 mil or something. So it's that's in amongst MCU grosses, that's pretty low, my brother. So I would go ahead and say, wow, that's bad. Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback. They're going to hit on it when they draft one. I can't say next year right now, but it's either next year or 2027.
Yeah, or 2028 or 2029 or
2029. It's going to happen eventually, or it might not. Who knows?
We'll see what happens. All right, guys. With that said, we're heading out of here. Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Check us out anywhere you get your podcast. And as always, find all of our work at si.com/NFL/Steelers. Before you go, if you could do us a huge favor and hit that like button, it would be super appreciated as YouTube goes through some algorithm changes. That helps us out a bunch. But with that said, we'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. before the game. We're going to go live, normal time, go through our predictions, bold predictions, so on and so forth, answer all your guys' questions before kickoff, and then we will head to good old Cincinnati. Until then, enjoy another beautiful day in the Berg.